Jason Snyder is excused through July 15th as planned. Commissioner Fye has had some challenges returning from a conference attendee, so we're unsure if she will be joining today's meetings. So there are three of us. So we meet the quorum requirement. And Ms. Aguilar, if you could do the formal honors, please.
You bet. The Washington County Board of Commissioners, also meeting as the Board of Directors of Clean Water Services and all other service districts, is meeting in regular session on July 15th, 2025. Commissioner Willie.
Here.
Commissioner Treese.
Here.
Chair Harrington.
Here.
And as Chair said, Snyder and Commissioner Fye are excused.
Thank you. Would everyone please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, we'll have our first section of public communication. This is an opportunity for members of our community to address the board for up to 2 minutes, an individual 10 minutes total. Ms. Aguilar, do we have anyone who wishes to do so?
We do. I'd like to call up Mr. Dale Feek and Sandra Nelson, and after that we've got Catherine and Jackie.
I don't see Mr. Feek in the room this morning, so welcome, Ms. Nelson.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. I'm Sandra Nelson, resident of Washington County. Last time a Board of County Commissioners meeting was held, we heard from a number of people who strongly and passionately urged you not to comply with the executive order that would withhold federal dollars from those jurisdictions that advance DEI policies and programs. I'd like to address what I assume they and perhaps the majority of the board fear if the board chooses to comply with federal law, that they would lose the benefits and privileges and special protections that they have received from DEI policies, that they would lose the affirmative action of government and businesses that give them their jobs and positions. Actually, I'm sorry they're not here this morning. I wanted to talk with them. I'd like to address the fear, not the justice or injustice of the executive order or of DEI policies. What can people do when they feel helpless and hopeless? A friend, originally from Egypt, recently wrote, quote, "When we tremble under the weight of loss and uncertainty, the peace that Christ offers remains a steady refuge for all who turn to him." Jesus reminds us, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid." John 14, verse 27. His peace is not dependent on political stability or human control. It is eternal, present, and powerful, even in the darkest hour, unquote. Father in heaven, we recognize that many people are experiencing turmoil, uncertainty, and fear. May each one of us, including our county commissioners, find the peace that you offer to us through Jesus. In his name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you for having us in your thoughts. Who's next?
Catherine from Bello and Jackie Poppin. Sorry if I pronounced the last names wrong. Not seeing anyone come up. Oh. Are you? Are you Jackie? Okay.
Please go ahead, Ms. Popham.
Okay. Good morning, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. My name is Jackie Poppin, a resident of Washington County. Today, just some facts about our county. Washington County does not have an elected county clerk. Our elections are run by an election manager who is appointed by you, the county commissioners. The elections division and manager fall under the umbrella of the Division of Assessment and Taxation. The election manager ultimately reports to you. Our county has no county clerk because we are a home rule county. As such, you are ultimately responsible for ensuring the reliability of our elections, just as you are responsible for ensuring taxes are properly assessed and managed. The Secretary of State and legislators have attempted to usurp the authority of home rule counties on election matters, but their legal impotence was evident when such counties were legally exempt from adopting ranked choice voting, ballot measure 117, in 2024. Per the National Advisory Commission on Intergovernmental Relations, Oregon's home rule counties have, quote, the highest degree of local discretionary authority of any state in the nation, unquote. See Oregon Blue Book. This authority means nothing unless it is exercised by you to bring control of our elections back to our county and to ensure elections are audited, transparent, and lawful. You must uphold the county's sovereignty with honest, fair election in the face of an overreaching state government. Washington County citizens expect no less. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for our listening public, for the record, we do actually have a county clerk that satisfies all of the state provisions as required of the county through the state government. It just so happens it's not an elected county clerk. So, who do we have next, Ms. Aguilera?
We have Bob Terry next.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. I'm sorry that all 5 of you aren't here this morning, but we'll do with what we got, I guess. So I hope you heard what Ms. Poppins said. I will say that, yes, we do have a county clerk. The point is, that county clerk reports to you. It doesn't report to the state. It reports to you. We have been working for 4 years, studying, looking at your records, looking at your elections, looking at your rules, along with the states. We have presented you, and unfortunately our new attorney has missed a lot of it. Hopefully he's been doing some homework with all the volumes of paper we have turned over to you. Everything we've showed you is dated. It's taken from your records and state records. Every bit of it is true. Every bit of it can be backed up. There's no way you cannot look at all that information and say, we have a problem in our elections. You seem to ignore what home rule means. It's very clear in our Constitution. It's very clear in our county charter. You have the right to be able to take away from the state our elections and run our elections and manage our elections, how they're registered, how we register. We don't have to do what the state says. We can do it ourselves. Yes, but it would cost us. But you know what? We would have to pay the state. And we have collected the numbers from the state and from you as the best we can by making the request. But you refuse to give us a lot of the answers, but we still dug it out anyway. We can show you how it'd be cheaper to do our own elections, manage our own elections records, and still vote, and be honest votes than what we have today. So I hope you will listen to us, even though I think you would ignore us as a lot. We would like to work with you and show you how to do it. Yeah, I know. Thank you. You're up.
Ms. Aguilera, do we have anyone else?
Is there anyone in the room that has not signed up that would like to speak? I have one person.
Ma'am? Come on up.
Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Katie Brumbelow. I'm a resident of Beaverton. First of all, I wanted to thank you for your willingness to tackle budgeting, planning, and public policy making that affect nearly 600,000 people. I thought you might enjoy these thoughts today in case you are ever in a situation where you find your work unpopular and you long for peace and unity so that you may proceed further. 1 month ago, on the President's birthday, a series of peaceful protests arose all over the country. No Kings is the anthem of every American. It rubs us the wrong way when our voices and experiences are silenced by our leaders, when the agenda of the one is forced upon the many. No Kings, indeed. As a student 30 years ago at Hill High, I served on a newly formed committee, the Principals Advisory Committee on Diversity. In an age of prosperity, we valued and appreciated the many cultures that make up this county. It is no accident, but rather the decisions of previous commissioners that led to a prosperous economy that welcomed new development. Fast forward to today, I can drive by a cricket game near Nike's campus by people who look very different than me. I feel confident that if I sat, watched, cheered, and learned, at some point, these athletes might give me a chance. They might welcome me to the table. I might be included. You have invited me to the table through this public process. Thank you for extending that invitation to every resident. Inclusion doesn't always make you popular. The accusation, this man receives tax collectors and sinners and eats with them, was leveled against a famously inclusive leader 2 millennia ago. Let's break this down a little, because we don't have these two categories anymore. All these years later, we still do have categories, usually two, and if we're being honest with ourselves, we're pretty sure that we, our particular group, don't fit into either of them.
Thank you. We need you to finish up. If you have anything
Yeah.
written, feel free to leave it with the clerk.
I would be happy to, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And for the record, Commissioner Fye has joined the meeting. Clerk Aguilar, do we have anyone else who?
Is there anyone online that would like to speak? And if so, please raise your hand. Giving you a few moments. Not seeing any. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have our consent agenda, and today's consent agenda consists of 22 items, 2 sets of Washington County Board of Commissioner minutes, 1 set of Clean Water Services Board of Directors meeting minutes, 3 items from Clean Water Services, 2 items from Facilities, Fleet, and Parks, 5 items from Land Use and Transportation, 3 items from the Office of Community Development, 3 items from Health and Human Services, 2 items from Human Resources, and 1 item from Work Systems, Inc. What are the wishes of the commission?
Move for approval?
All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you. Commissioners, any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. Next, we'll move on to public hearings. Our first public hearing is pertinent to a road project. So I'd like to welcome Stacy Shetler up to the table to take us through the staff report and the process. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Harrington, Commissioners. As introduced, I'm Stacy Shetler, your county engineer. And before you today, we have the transfer of jurisdiction of portions of Sewell Road and 273rd. These portions of road, they run north from Evergreen Road towards Meek Road. 273rd dead ends into a public access road, rather. And Sewell Road, the part that continues to Meek Road, has already been transferred to the city, and that was done in 2014. The city has requested that the roads be transferred through city resolution. Both of these roads are within the city limits of Hillsborough, and neither of these roads are on the long-term jurisdiction map in the Transportation Systems Plan. The public interests are maintained in these roads through the transfer. Notifications were made per statute, and there's no known opposition to the transfer, and we haven't received any calls regarding the matter. Today at your public hearing, you may receive additional information for your consideration. That concludes the staff report, and I would request that your board conduct the public hearing and then approve the resolution and order transferring the jurisdictions of these roads from the county to Hillsborough. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
I do.
Go ahead.
Stacy, that's both of those roads have been undergoing significant upgrades and improvements. There's a light now at Sewell. Is all of that paid for through the city of Hillsborough and development? There's no MSTIP money in there, right?
It's all development driven, Commissioner.
That's what I thought. And now Jackson School Road is now closed, and that's all the same thing, isn't it? It's all development.
It's development driven, yes. They're working, they had to close the road to install the utilities.
Yeah.
So it's safer to do that road closure.
Yeah, okay. A lot of development going on out there, so thank you.
Any other questions? Nope. Seeing none, I'd like to open a public hearing. Clerk Aguilar, do we have anyone who wishes to testify?
No one has signed up. Is there anyone in the room that would like to testify during this period? Not seeing any hands. Anyone online? Nope, not seeing any hands. Over to you.
Thank you. And with that, I'll close today's public hearing and ask for a motion to approve the resolution and order to transfer the jurisdiction of portions of Northwest Sewell Road and Northwest 273rd Avenue to the city of Hillsborough as County Road 3354T/J.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. Thank you. We'll move on to our next public hearing, and this one has to do with land and a particular tax lot, which is the subject of an annexation into the Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District. And I'll turn it over to our land use experts. Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Harrington, members of the board. My name is Carol Johnson. I'm the Planning and Development Services Manager, and I'm joined today by Teresa Cherniak, our Community Planning Section Manager, who will give the staff report. Good morning, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. The item before you today is proposed boundary change 25-004. It's a request to annex one tax lot into the Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District, or THPRD. The subject property is located at 5370 Northwest Roanoke Lane in unincorporated Washington County. That is inside the UGB. And I'll actually show the,
Sometimes it bounces.
There's the map. The property is approximately 3/4 of an acre and is shown here south of Northwest Roanoke Lane, east of Northwest 137th Avenue, and north of Northwest Laidlaw Road. The blue area shown is the current extent of THPRD in the vicinity. This is a request by the property owner, Scott Rasmussen, to annex this tax lot into THPRD to serve a future residence. The annexation request was initiated by a consent petition from the property owner. County staff has reviewed the request and found it meets the criteria for boundary changes as outlined in the staff report. Staff recommends, therefore, that the board conduct the public hearing and at the conclusion of the hearing, adopt the resolution and order approving the annexation into THPRD, with the approval becoming effective today, July 15th. If there is any public testimony today, there's a brief statement I will need to read. With that, I conclude my presentation and can answer any questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Nope. Seeing none, I'd like to open the public hearing. Clerk Aguilar, do we have anyone who wishes to do so?
We have no one that has signed up. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak during this period? Raise your hand. Seeing no hand raises, is there anyone online that would like to speak on this topic? I'll give you a few moments. Seeing no hands, back to you.
Thank you very much, Clerk Aguilar. And with that, I'll close today's public hearing and ask for a motion to approve the resolution and order approving the annexation with the approval becoming effective immediately, and authorize the chair to sign the RNO for Service District Annexation 25-004 LRP/BC.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to action items, and this pertains to our land use planning work program. Turn it over to our experts.
Thank you again. Excuse me. Thank you again, Chair Harrington and members of the board. Carol Johnson, Planning and Development Services Manager. And again, joining me today is Teresa Cherniak, our Community Planning Section Manager, to discuss our fiscal year 2025 through 2027 planning work program.
Good morning again, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. We are today talking about the 2-year planning work program and asking the board for adoption. As a refresher, land use and transportation's planning work is carried out by 3 teams. They're listed here. Community planning has 14 staff, transportation planning has 12, and development review current planning has 13. So we're a large group of folks and have a lot of work on our plates. Most of the work is mandated by state statute and subject to strict timelines. The work program identifies all the tasks we'll be working on within this 2-year period and includes ordinances, studies, special projects, and a lot of our ongoing work. There are typically a lot more tasks than we're able to do, so we prepare a work program to make sure that your board knows the things we're required to do, and so you can provide direction on the topics that are your highest priority and support your policy direction. A number of factors drive our planning work, including priorities of the board and county leadership, community requests, metro and state laws and rules, and then our coordination with other regional and state partners. There's a list here of the different factors we attempt to balance in that work program. This is a biennial work program. We went to that a couple of years ago to reflect the fact that a lot of the work that we do is ongoing, multi-year, doesn't really start and stop in 1 year. And it helps us then more efficiently allocate our resources. The themes in the work program, this year we added one from what we've had in previous years. They communicate alignment with board priorities and describe our work to the community. So they're listed here: housing production and affordability, natural resources and climate, multimodal transportation system planning and funding, plan and code updates, and then this year we did add the fiscal responsibility. As I noted, much of our work is non-discretionary. We are required to do it by the federal, state, or local rules, policies, regulations, and a lot of it is ongoing. That ongoing work includes our development review, things like plan amendments, transportation modeling, transportation development tax implementation. We do participate in a lot of planning efforts with other cities, with Metro at the state and federal levels. And then we do support a couple commissions, so the Planning Commission and the Washington County Coordinating Committee are 2 that we staff. So while over the years some of these projects might change, the body of the work is ongoing. Aside from that ongoing work, then we have some major initiatives that we undertake, and these are the topics that we put in a table and send out for review. We did have a online open house I'll talk about a little bit later, but so we have that it gets sent out, and people do have comments that they submit on these. The first major theme is the housing production and affordability. This is a major topic that has been a major topic for the last number of years at the state level, and is actually both an urban and a rural topic. So you'll see some rural issues on here as well. So we have a lot of work that we're doing to develop housing policy and actually promote the production of housing, particularly right now we're looking at accessory dwelling units and middle housing. There'll be a new body of work for doing housing capacity analysis and housing production strategies. That is a state mandate. We have a number of code revisions that we're working on that you'll see probably later in the winter, likely. We're doing an overview assessment of our community development code. That's the 1,200-plus page document that has not been comprehensively looked at since it was adopted in the early 80s. So that we're hoping will result in some streamlining and a better set of regulations for folks to follow.
So to be clear then, there's work that's been done on the community development code
Yes.
every year.
Indeed.
But this one is a comprehensive assessment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, each year we do bring changes forward. Sometimes they're bigger sets of changes. Last year, for instance, our significant natural resource regulations, our parking regulations. We've done added North Bethany, large set of regulations, but those were mostly adding, not really usually subtracting. And so there are things in there that are probably out of date. And then relooking at our processes as well. So yes, a comprehensive look. The rural accessory dwelling unit ordinance, we have heard a lot from community members in the rural area asking us to implement state law allowances that we're allowed to. So we are hoping to move forward with that ordinance. And we did have an issue paper that we've talked with the Planning Commission about, and we'll be sending out to the public on that. And then another briefing memo that will look further at what are the different housing options in the rural area. For natural resources, and I believe we called it natural resources and climate change, we do still have a smaller body of work on significant natural resources focused on the rural area, and then some cleanup from the regulations we adopted last year. Climate-friendly and equitable communities implementation, we did the first part of that, which was the parking. And this next couple of years, there are some additional parts with adopting town center boundaries and making TSP update changes, as well as looking at some of our land use regulations. And then FEMA did require that we make some changes to our floodplain regulations. That's a little bit up in the air with changes at the federal government, but we do still have that on our work program when that settles down a bit. On the transportation side of things, we have a substantial body of work to start developing the next 10-year update to the transportation system plan. That TSP update will take at least 3 years to complete, and we'll be doing the work in chunks. So different topic areas will be coming forward. We're looking for different funding sources for those different chunks. One of the first parts of the work will be the active transportation plan, and we do have grant funding for that. We do expect to finish the complete streets design update in this biennium. That will implement road standards to better reflect the variety of land use contexts in the county. And then the Transportation Safety Action Plan, I believe, will be complete by the end of this year, and recommending a number of safety improvements for the community. Let's see, for code plan updates, there typically will have an urban growth boundary expansion ordinance after metro expands the UGB. We had that in Sherwood, so once that is through the process, that will come forward to the board for our changes. We have one urban planning area agreement we're working on right now with Cornelius, so you'll see that. Contractors Establishment Ordinance, this has been on our work program for a while. We've moved it to an ordinance instead of an issue paper. This is the topic down in Wilsonville area, and a lot of contractors establishments happening in the area that is future development and has created some problems. So we'll be looking more closely at that. And then we always have an ordinance that does minor updates to either the transportation system plan or other comprehensive plan elements. And finally, fiscal responsibility. We have started the Urban Services Framework Project. It's a 2-year limited duration project, technical exercise that complements the county's strategic plan update and the service level inventory projects. And then finally, we plan to assess the interim parks system development charge program for areas within THBRT's ultimate boundary, but outside of their current boundary. And that fee is quite out of date. It hasn't kept up with THPRD's SDC, so we'll bring that forward. We do have 8 tasks on Tier 2, and we'll work on those if there is time. Sometimes other projects maybe are on hold on Tier 1, so we may be able to work on Tier 2, but it doesn't happen often. Public input, I mentioned we had an online open house. We didn't get a lot of feedback. We had 16 comments, as well as 5 comment letters. The CCI supported a lot of the work that was on the work program, both Tier 1 and Tier 2. They did ask that we provide a definition of citizen in our community development code, since that term has different meanings to different people. And under the state's Goal 1 program, they do have a definition, so we have included that we would do that as part of our omnibus ordinance. And then a relook at sidewalk gaps. There was an issue paper, and we feel we can kind of blend that into some of the other work that we're doing.
But does that request only pertain to the urban unincorporated areas?
I believe so, yes.
In which case, why is that not under the purview of the Urban Road Maintenance District?
So there may be either Aaron or Stephen that wants to answer that. I know that the ERMD funding is limited, and I believe that they maybe were able to do less in the last year than people had hoped. So I take the letter and the comment as being displeased with that reality, but the work program can't make up for the lack of funding, and really the extent of the work that you need to do as part of the TSP major plan in meeting the mandatory work. What I'm trying to separate is there's input, but then what do we have room to incorporate? And I'm questioning that there's really the bandwidth to take anything more on per the input. So I'm just trying to make it clearer than I thought I heard it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would say that's the case with all of the comments on here, that most of them are about things that we are doing and maybe requests for, as we do that work, to consider these things. And so as we do have funding, we know that there are community priorities to get some filling in of the sidewalk gap. So as we can, we'll always have that sort of in our mind, but it's
Ms.
not
Angie,
extra work.
It's pretty clear in my mind that there's a difference between policy changes versus what we're able to do implementation-wise through the CIP, through the LUT annual construction work programs. And so I'm hearing a mix of both, though in this presentation, though I know operationally we're much clearer than that. I don't want us to be in a position of overcommitting and under-delivering, and that's what I feel like I'm hearing in terms of, well, maybe look at, and so I'm having trouble balancing between those two, the reality of how we actually do our work versus constituent communication and leading them to believe we're going to be able to do something that, given economic circumstances that we've gone through in this budget year and that you've helped this board understand the reality of. So I'm separating out public input versus what I think the work plan actually says. So just to be clear on that. Thank you.
And that's actually exactly why we're here, for us to hear that and to have that message. So I do appreciate that. Other comments we received in the online open house were supportive of work we were doing on housing, the rural significant natural resources, rural accessory dwelling unit ordinance. There was a lot of feedback about not expanding the urban growth boundary. The county doesn't propose any urban growth boundary expansions, so a lot of them were just comments that we take in and we thank people for, but they didn't result in specific changes to the draft work program. So at this point, staff is requesting the board approve the fiscal year 2025-27 planning work program and authorize filing of ordinances to implement the work. So I'll stop there and can answer any questions you have.
Commissioners, do you have any questions on what the work plan had, particularly on these two tables?
No, it's always enlightening, I think, for us to see the list of projects that had we had unlimited resources that we would be involved in doing. But it's also interesting to read the citizen comments about ADUs, rural ADUs, about not expanding the urban growth boundary, about relaxing the housing rules on farmland for development. So it was kind of a mix of all of those things, but it's always good to, I think, see the cross-section of concerns. But yeah, I think this is an important work step for the department, certainly, and you've done a good job on this, so thank you.
Any other comments? I'll close with,
I have a comment, Chair.
thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I just wanted, yes, I support the staff recommendation. So thumbs up for me and intend to vote in support of that. I too stumbled with the word citizen and sort of led me to go back and check our strategic plan because I thought we modernized it, the strategic plan, and changed that word to something that resonates with the community. And it is correct, but I really did benefit the conversation that went on and the dialogue that you've had back and forth and the context that you provided about that. But I really came online or on the mic to just say that I'm really looking forward to the relook at sidewalk gaps issue paper. And I say that because I know for sure we've made critical improvements in sidewalks in Washington County. So I really look forward to balancing the improvements that took place since 2016 to what's left and just compare that. So I know that recently some sidewalks that are coming online, and neighbors and community members are really excited about and talking about even having a ribbon cutting at a sidewalk. So land use and transportation, Washington County, you are making a difference in these sidewalks. But it would be really good to see a list of all the improvements that have been made and the gaps that have been identified. So good work. And yeah, keep up the good work.
Anything else, commissioners? Okay, well, cheering aside, I'm really concerned about the workload on our staff, as you illustrated very well in Figure 1. And I appreciate that that was included in all of this. You know, based upon even the most recent action from the state legislature and the governor, the pressure with regard to housing development continues. And I think the Community Development Code assessment and performing that assessment and prioritizing the recommendations for action before the end of 2026 is really paramount. And that's why I want to make sure that we're putting our resources and pressure of direction on that work in addition to the mandated, put very nicely as non-discretionary, thank you, on the housing production and affordability piece. There's just such a big load of work to do, as well as additional influences that we have zero influence over. And so I'm just trying to make sure there is space for you to get the work done that will help address those state priorities around housing availability and affordability and our readiness towards potential emergencies that can come up. So that's where I'm coming from. So thank you very much.
Chair, if I could respond to that comment, and for members of the public and those viewing, I would refer you to page 10 of 11 within the Planning Work Program Staff Report. And I'm just going to read the sentence. This work program covers the 39.73 FTE of staff time for community planning, transportation planning, and current planning development review. While the work is likely over-programmed, this 2-year work program provides some flexibility in timing of tasks. So I just want to call out just the work of the entire team to continue to pursue the art of the possible in response to mandates as well as community input. I also want to commend your board for changing to a 2-year process of work programming versus 1 year, because there's no planning project I've ever seen be accomplished in 1 year. That's, and I started out as a planner and rec professional. So I just want to highlight this, and your board will hear if there is change of scopes, change of timing, and this work will need to be revisited because we need to set attainable goals and realistic expectations with sound process that includes, of course, the leadership and governance of your board as well as input from community.
Yep. And this reminds me that we'll have to take the draft ordinance hearing schedule that's on page 11 and incorporate that into our board. There's a line item on the board focus list that we have land use and transportation ordinances, and those utilize the board's attention and political capital in that. And this is where it's really helpful to us to have that laundry list so we can remind ourselves. And the board at our August 14th roundtable is going to need to take a fresh look at everything that is on our plate, which means it's on your plate, because the demands placed on us exceed both our capacity organizationally, the capacity on the board, all of our resources. It's breathtaking. So thank you. It's a lot. Okay, well, we are done with questions and comments. Now, we are on to approval. So I would ask for a motion to approve the FY 25 through 27, 2 fiscal years, planning work program and authorize the filing of the various ordinances.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. And there formally kicks off our continued big load of work in service to our community. Thank you so much. Okay, next on our agenda is our second public comment opportunity for today's meeting. This is an opportunity for members of our community to come and share their thoughts with the board for up to 5 minutes an individual, 30 minutes maximum. Clerk Aguilar, do we have anyone who wishes to do so today?
No, we do not. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak during this time?
That hasn't already.
That hasn't already, thank you. Seeing none, is there anyone online that would like to speak on this topic? Seeing no hand raises, back to you, Chair Harrington.
Thank you very much. Next, I'll move to board announcements. This Friday, July 18th, we'll have all-day Clean Water Services Board of Directors meeting. That has been properly noticed, or it has been noticed. I won't comment. In the packet, we will be meeting at the Rock Creek Water Resource Recovery Facility. So the address is in the published packet. On Tuesday, July 22nd, next Tuesday, we'll start our work session at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, then have our evening board meeting starting at 6:30 p.m. We will not be meeting the 5th Tuesday of this month. That would be Tuesday, July 29th. Then we're into the month of August already. Summer is marching along. Tuesday, August 5th, we'll start the work session at 9 a.m., pause that, then convene in the Housing Authority Board of Directors meeting at 10 a.m., with the board meeting starting subsequent to that. On Tuesday, August 12th, is a full work session day starting at 9 in the morning. On Thursday, August 2nd, we'll have the Washington County Board of Commissioners Roundtable at 9 a.m. On Tuesday, August 19th, we'll have the work session starting at 9. We'll pause that, reconvene in the board meeting at 10. Then on Tuesday, August 26th, we'll have a work session starting at 2 in the afternoon and a board meeting at 6:30 p.m. And that is the month of August. So are there any other board announcements for today? Seeing none, we will reconvene in work session at 11 a.m. as noticed in our work session packet. Do we have a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Great. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you. Any opposed? One thing I wanted to make clear here in our business meeting, we do have the meeting next Tuesday, July 22nd. I know that Commissioner Treese is making special provisions to participate remotely while she is away taking a well-deserved vacation next week. Then I will be leaving on Wednesday, July 23rd through Sunday, August 3rd for family business. So in the interim, Commissioner Jerry Willey will serve as pro tem from Wednesday, July 23rd through Commissioner Treese's return on Sunday, July 27th. So, thank you. Okay, now we're adjourned. Thanks.